The next person I want to introduce actually interned at Treehouse. Brianna Franco is a shining star. She is currently a freshman at Seattle Pacific University. And as a TIPS intern, she served as a key member at the low-income housing nonprofit she worked at. I'm sorry, she was not for Treehouse. She worked at Imagine Housing, and she worked closely with the residents as well as the program managers at the various properties. Brianna has contributed to success stories for Treehouse for Kids and interviews for several local newspapers and publications, but most recently, Brianna was featured in the Seattle Times with her Treehouse education specialist, celebrating her accomplishments in both high school graduation and college enrollment. And she had no easy road to get to her TIPS internship, so I'm excited to hear her story. Brianna, can you please come up?
Good. So, the microphone? Can you hear me now? Am I good? How's everyone doing today? Good. Good to hear. Well, it has been extremely rewarding to not only serve in a local nonprofit, but to serve in a nonprofit that sparks personal interest. Imagine Housing is a low-income Eastside housing nonprofit organization, and this past summer I've had the honor to work alongside with the Director of Supportive Services and the staff. We strive at Imagine Housing to impact the residents living at these properties by not only providing them with a new resource or a warm meal, but also providing them with social support. A lot of the times the residents wouldn't have this everyday encounter with individuals outside of the building. So we found it very, very important to hear their stories so that we could provide exactly what they needed from the organization. Through the Farms for Life fresh produce deliveries we did every Tuesday, the community meals we had at several of the properties throughout the week, and the big event that we had back in August to connect these communities to local enforcement, the most worthwhile aspect for me was interning at a community that I grew up in. I lived in one of the 13 apartment complexes that Imagine Housing owned in Issaquah called Highland Gardens, excuse me, primarily when I was in elementary school. I recall after doing the property tours my first week of work and attending my first staff meeting, I was more than thrilled to share with the staff that I was so proud and so honored to not only be working somewhere I grew up in, but to be so proud that as a child I was never aware of the fact that it was a low-income property. Coming back 10 years later, I was more than enthused to see that it's very much the same to this day. It has allowed me to rekindle some memories from my own childhood and even presented me the opportunity to rekindle some of the relationships I had with the residents from when I resided there. I hope my time spent working at Imagine Housing has allowed the residents and the children to have hope and to be encouraged that there is a way out of any hard situation. I cannot thank those enough who have made this opportunity possible. Thank you.